Hello everyone, it is April. Thanks for joining us, taking some time out of your day, your evening, your drive to sit down and listen to Band on Band. On today's episode, I sit down with new Pagans and we talk about Pedro the Lion. Yeah, this is the third time Pedro the Lion has been picked, but I promise you it's a fantastic chat and I'm going to have to cap it. We can't do any more Pedro the Lion talks. I know massive numbers will drop off from the podcast now, but I feel like we all know how great Pedro the Lion is. So anyway, enjoy my chat and I'll talk to you in a bit. All right, Per, nice to have you on Band. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I am fantastic, Connor. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all.
All is good.
Yeah, you have selected Pedro the Lion, the third person so far, and probably the last person, but you can't knock it, can you? It's great.
It's such a great record. I mean, I was introduced to Pedro the Lion back in 2004. I think it was around. It was Achilles' Heel. I was introduced to it. My old bandmate Andrew Ferris and Jeplin Landon gave me the CD for Christmas or a birthday or something, and said, "Here, I think you'll really dig this," and I did. But then Pedro the Lion disappeared.
Yeah, right. Wrong time you got into it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, never heard anything. And then it was so I work for Frank Turner as well. I'm like Frank Turner guitar tech. So I told him and said, "Oh, Pedro the Lion are putting out a new record." And I was like, "I love Pedro the Lion," and as does Matt, who's Frank's keyboard player. And we were all like really excited about it. And then we got to hear Phoenix, and we were just like,
yeah, right.
I mean, wow, it's just such a fantastic record. I mean, I have not stopped listening to it.
It hasn't even, it feels like since 2004, obviously, I mean, David Zann's done his own solo stuff, but it feels like from Achilles' Heel into Phoenix, there isn't even like a step missing. Let's, when you first like discovered Pedro the Lion back in 2004, what was it about that Achilles' Heel that sort of took you by surprise or sort of seeped in so quickly? What was it that you enjoyed about that initially?
I think the band just have a way about sort of writing these amazing songs, and they're not like super heavy, you know what I mean? Because you got your punk rock bands and you've got your sort of math rock and whatever else, and just they sat there, and it reminded me a lot of Death Cab and stuff like that there, and I'm a big fan of that. So I was like, and I was just drawn in. I was just sucked straight in. And lyrically as well, it was just so smart. And I love the production value. And it was just right up my, Andrew was correct. It was just right up my street. I was just like, you are correct. Yes, I love it.
We always seem to have those friends who know our music taste better than ourselves. So I guess your favorite album, I'm going to say, is Phoenix, because it's
my favorite. Yes, it's definitely. I mean, I love Control as well, and obviously Achilles' Heel and stuff. But Control's a bit more gritty. You know what I mean? It's got like Rapture and stuff, which is heavy and what. But definitely, Phoenix is my favorite record. It's like so many good songs on there, and I absolutely love the production on it. It's beautiful. It really is. The drum sound on it is amazing. The guitar sounds, his voice is just it's mind blowing. I mean, literally, to come back with that record is just like, for me,
his voice doesn't even sound that weathered from the time either. Sort of feels fitting for what it is. Like it doesn't feel, like I said before, it doesn't feel like it's out of step with anything in the past.
Yeah, he's got this real sort of melancholy, sort of sadness to his voice. That I mean, it's not like a bad thing. It suits how he constructs songs so well, and just the emotion that's sort of conveyed within that is amazing. You know what I mean? You're just like, wow, at the end of every song, and especially is it Black Canyon? Absolutely. I mean, it floored me completely. I think that might be my favorite song on the record. It's just so good, and that discordant guitar sound that's going through it, like a drone nearly. It's just
Every time I sit and listen to it, I feel like I get another perspective on that album. I've said this in the past with Katie Malco, who spoke about him previously, and Kevin Devine, who brought him up personally. Every single time I sit there, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite song. It's got to be Powerful Taboo. And then you listen to it again and you're like, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think the last time I listened to it fully previously today, I was sitting there and I got a whole new take on Quiet as Friends. And then that just floored me. And I was like, that's going to be my favorite song from now on. We're still settled at that now. Nothing's changing at this point in time, but I'm sure it will eventually again.
Yeah, I was the same. I started off with Yellow Bike, obviously, because that was the single and stuff, and I was just like, oh, Yellow Bike is so good. I love it. It's just great. Really well put together song, and then boom, Black Canyon, and then I bounced to Model Homes. I was like, oh, what a great song. Do you know what I mean? And then it was My Phoenix, because it's kind of rocking song, and it just keeps changing all the time. But I think at the minute my most sort of played is Model Homes, is what I'm back listening to that again now, you know, because I played Black Canyon to death, you know what I mean? So
you can't listen to it anymore.
I can, but I'm like, I want to save it. I don't want to ruin it for myself. You know what I mean? Which I have a habit of ruining things for myself.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely, I think that's the sign of a good song, where you listen to it to death. But it's one of those albums, I think, as well. Like, I actually think most of the Pedro the Lion albums, for me personally, you get like 5 minutes, so you got to like go to the shops or something, you're like, oh, I'll try and find a song, and you spend 5 minutes actually trying to find a song, where when you are sitting at home, you can just put on the entire album and listen to it. And I find that most of these Pedro the Lion albums, I just need to listen to from front to back. I can't dip in without wanting to go back to the start and just absorb it.
Yeah, it's 100%. I have put so many people onto that Phoenix record. It's like ridiculous. Like, our entire band are now into Pedro the Lion, because I am just like, you ever listened to Pedro the Lion? What? You've never listened to Pedro? So then I start them on Phoenix, and then they've sort of gone back into the back catalogue. Do you know what I mean? And so, I mean, it influenced a lot of the songs on our record when I was putting together guitar parts, because I just loved it so much. I was just like, oh, such a smart way of using delay and stuff like that there on your guitar. You know what I mean? It's just really, really gorgeous. And I thought, I need to lift a few of those. Thank you, lads. I'll just top pocket, stick them in the top pocket.
Like trying to find any sort of rig rundown or any sort of interview where he mentions some kind of pedal, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna store
yes,
Payday.
Totally. And I'm just trying to recreate the sounds from the record. I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds like it. Yeah, I'll do. But yeah, and also I'm currently sort of I'm doing some online teaching for like a local center, a nerve center. It's like a hub for musicians in Derry, and so we're running these sort of mentored courses. You know, people in the music industry, and we're writing songs and stuff. But there was like a section where the mentors had to play a song. I hate doing this. I hate, like, here, play a song. I'm like, I don't really want to play a song. You know what I mean? Here, have an acoustic guitar, play a song. I'm not that guy at all, right?
Wonderwall.
No, exactly. It just conjures up that whole nightmare. But I sat and learned Yellow Bike on the acoustic guitar and played it for all the students, because there's like 60 kids on a Zoom meeting. And then all the mentors had to play like a song each. And I was like, please don't make me do it. And my friend Marty was like, you have to do it. You just have to do it. So I went and learned that. I said, well, if I'm going to do it, then I'm going to do a Pedro the Lion song. God damn it! And I'm going to punish myself. You know, I'm going to give me 2 days. I had to learn it, and I did okay. I only messed up one chord, but I did okay. But then I had some messages from the kids who were like, who was that band? Who was that song? So I got some more fans. You know, for the lads.
You are,
you know, maybe when they come over here and this all reopens, we can do some shows together. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean?
The dream. That would be a wonderful. Speaking of shows, because you've been listening to Pedro the Lion and David Zan for so long, was there ever a period where you ever saw him live for the first time? Are you still waiting for that?
So no, I've never saw them live or David live. So, but what we tried to do was funny when we were on tour. When I was on tour with Frank, when the album dropped, I was trying to get Frank to somehow get them on a bill with us, with Frank Turner somewhere, you know what I mean? So I was like, Frank, can you not like talk to your agent and figure out who Pedro the Lion's agent is, and maybe we could do some shows together, maybe something could happen. And he was like seriously thinking about it, because we were so obsessed with the record at the time. We were like, that's not a bad idea. I mean, and he runs the Lost Evenings nights. He has his own festival. Or maybe we could get Pedro the Lion on the bill. But I don't think anything ever came of it. But we were just so obsessed for months. I think we sickened ourselves with the record that was on all the time on the bus. And if I was out walking around a city somewhere in Europe or America, I had the Pedro the Lion record on, you know what I mean? So, but like, I've never got to see them live. I've watched a lot of stuff online and stuff, but someday, hopefully we play a show together. I'd love that. It would be.
Yeah, I was about to suggest the KXP session, but I'm sure you've.
Yeah, I've watched it. Yeah, it's great.
So good.
Just so good. They're such a good band, man. It's like, love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, so I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if David's watching this, David, you need to, we need to come over in the UK. Let's do a couple of shows together, or come and do an Irish tour. Jump on. We'll support. It's, I can gush. We can have a beer, chat shite.
Even just bring back the house shows. I'm sure there's plenty of houses in Ireland that host them.
There's loads. I mean, there's garages. There's really dodgy garages in Ireland that play. In a few estates, well, crack will be 90, but bring your suit of armor with you. That's all.
All right, this seems like a pretty good place to throw an advert in. I'm sure you are strapped in to this conversation, but we do have to break from that a second so we can just talk about the new Pagans record, The Seed, The Vessel, The Roots, and All. Came out back in March, and I haven't been able to put it down. I think it is one of those albums that the more you listen to it, the better it gets. There's small elements to it that you just hear on the second, third, and fourth listen through. It's honestly from the beginning with It's Darker all the way through to the end of Christian Boys, the last track on the album, it is absolute hit machine, hit city, population, you and your ears. I can't really describe it any better than that. I think once you've listened to this podcast, depending where you are, you might be at work, you might be at home, you might be in the car. If you're in the car, I advise you not to do this unless you've got some sort of Siri that can actually understand what you're saying. Treat yourself to a listen of the new Pagans album, The Seed, The Vessel, The Roots, and All. Let's get back to the chat about Pedro the Lion. It's good. With regards to the album, did you watch the accompanying documentary that came out? Because I've never seen Pedro the Lion either, but there's the documentary that came out around Phoenix called Strange Negotiations, which is fantastic. Ooh. If you want to get a glimpse into him playing that live, figuring out, discovering who he is as a person now, I can't recommend it enough. It's
I haven't seen that. No, I didn't know that existed. That is exciting for me. I will. What's it called? I'm just going to put it in.
It's called Strange Negotiations. I will gladly send you a link to the...
Please send me a link. Yes, do that, because I was going to type it on my phone there. But yeah, send me a link and that will be my viewing this weekend.
It's very, honestly, and anyone listening who hasn't seen it and has an enjoyment of Pedro the Lion or this album, it's really good. I won't spoil it because you haven't seen it. I won't spoil it for anyone else.
Yeah, don't do. I'm terrible for spoiling things. I spoil things all the time. They call me the ruiner on the Frank tour. They call me the ruiner of all things, because if I watch a TV show or something, I'll just like blurt out the whole thing, the whole plot. Have you seen that show yet? Breaking Bad. Oh, it's about this here and I'll just ruin it.
He dies at the end.
I'm just so excited about it that it just sometimes blah.
So finally, one of the last questions that I like to ask people is, as an artist yourself, what is it about Pedro the Lion that's inspired you from the moment you discovered him right up until now? What is it that you take inspiration from?
I think, there's a few things. I mean, the three-piece thing as well for me is like, I love three-piece bands, and that is a special sound. I just love the idea that three people can sort of make that noise. You know what I mean? And especially with Pedro the Lion, because they have such a sort of dynamic thing going on with just the three. That's awesome. And just lyrically, I think he's such a good songwriter. Such good lyrics. I hate writing lyrics, right? And in all my previous bands, in Jet Plane and Fighting with Wire, Fight with Wire, I was the singer in the band. It was a three-piece, and I had to write lyrics, and I was like, I hate writing lyrics. It's just not my comfort zone. But I love listening to really sort of good lyricists and good writers, and sort of in the hope that someday that'll rub off on me. You know what I mean? So that's that's what I take away from Pedro the Lion, that he's such a good, prolific writer. That it sort of, I hope that someday I can aspire to such heights.
It's strange that people who go through the biggest turmoil, or like in the case of Pedro the Lion, like falling out with your religion, creates such intricate woven tales of beauty. It's crazy.
I think it takes a lot. I mean, the most interesting sort of songs are always about sort of horrific things and sort of conflicts and confrontation, and these unnerving, uneasy things that we don't like to have happen to us, but we're intrigued about how it has affected other people. It's like, look at Netflix and look at the sort of look at the documentaries about murderers, and it's like picking a scab. You know what I mean? It's like touching that sore tooth. You just can't help but like sort of peer at it and be like, oh. And I don't know. It's just part of our nature, I guess. Just that side of humanity is really interesting. Yes,
absolutely. It's either
side,
it's either a former alcoholic falling out with God, or learning how to ride a bike.
Well, I mean, yeah, because like the Phoenix record is just a nostalgia record, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like Model Homes is like, on a Sunday going viewing model homes with her mum and dad, and tired of where we live, and always thinking big. And I mean that sort of that whole nostalgia thing is just, everybody can identify with that, and everyone has those, riding your first bike and then thinking about that, always leaving home, always on the road, thinking back to those times. I mean, it's so clever the way he's done it. And then how dark is Black Canyon? You know what I mean? It's the dark as a guy throwing himself under a truck. But I mean, that song, it just drew me in even further. I mean, the more you listen to the story, and he brings on the Uncle Ray, and it's just amazing. It's so good. If you haven't heard it, you need to go and listen to it, and just like, seriously, you'll listen to it about 20 times. You know what I mean?
What you do is you need to buy yourself the physical vinyl and then sit in front of a record player and read the lyrics, because you will get the full extent of what is actually going on in those stories, which I don't know if many people, I mean, maybe I'm a nostalgist, I don't know if you are, but like, that's the first time I listen to a record, that's all I do, just sit there and read it. Music. I don't know if people do that anymore. Maybe I'm getting
no, I used to do it. I used to have more time to be able to do things like that.
I've got loads of time, apparently.
I have no time anymore, and it's ridiculous because I always complain to Lindsay and anybody in New Pagans that'll sort of barely listen to me. I'll be like, I don't get time to do this. And I used to do this. And I used to sit down on a Sunday and listen to my records, and I can't do that anymore. And I'm an old moaning shit, and that's totally fine. But I mean, I do miss those things. And when I don't even buy records as much as I used to anymore because I don't get to do that. Do you know what I mean? But there is coming a day of reckoning when I'm going to sort of catch up. Do you know what I mean? When I'm going to catch up on all the records and the time and just sit there and listen and read and do what I used to do with me and blow the dust off my record collection. I don't even know where it's in a box somewhere because we moved house and it's like it's craziness. 2 kids just take up all our time, and also I don't want my records to be melted on a radiator or broken in half or thrown as a frisbee. So they're hidden away until I can unlock them again. And,
so you can open it up and relive those Sundays reading lyrics. And
totally. But I mean, I used to when I was touring with the band and with Frank Turner and stuff, you'd have a bit of time to listen to music and stuff. But it's difficult these days. I really have to force it through. When I'm doing something, I'm usually have Spotify on and just, I'm just listening to stuff and have playlists on, and I'm, the Office playlists from, Big Scary Monster Dog plays. I have that on. I'm listening away. It's like it's all you can do, really. Like at this point.
One day the world will come back and you'll be able to sit in front of your lovely new record player setup, and you'll be able to put Phoenix on, and that needle will drop down, and all will be well.
Connor, I cannot wait for that day. Believe you. There will be many, many bottles of wine consumed beside the record player.
That'll be the day. Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast and chatting to me about Pedro the Lion. I promise the last person that the listeners will have to listen to.
Yes, this is up. Not allowed to do. That's it. The final Phoenix is right here. That's it. No more.
Well, thank you very much.
Really appreciate it, Connor. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
And that's gonna do it. Thank you very much for listening. Like I said at the beginning, at the top of the podcast, this is going to be the last episode on Pedro the Lion. We gave New Pagans a bit of a buy there because they were very into the idea of talking about Pedro the Lion, and if someone's that passionate, I just can't quell it. But I'm going to have to be hard on myself and you and the future guests. Anyway, that goes without saying. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for everyone who has said anything nice about this or even shared it on the internet. I'm obviously hosting it. A good friend and mysterious beat machine, Oscar, on the edits. We will keep going. We will get closer and closer to normality with each week. And until next time, keep on keeping on. Call your mother, call your friends, stay hydrated, and don't worry. I think we're nearly through this. Hopefully. All right, bye.